We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Aleph Amud Beis Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 71b. The Gemara here is in the middle of discussing a Mishnah in Krisis, and the Gemara just finished saying that when the Mishnah says that if a person ate a half a zayis and a half a zayis from two minim, so they are not mitzvah, if the person's not chayiv, let's say it was chaylev, but if the person ate a half a zayis and a half a zayis from one min, they're mitzvah and he's chayiv. The Gemara just finished saying that the discussion is talking about even if they were one min and they were prepared in the same manner. So the Gemara now says, Mechlal, your analysis implies, or your understanding of the Mishnah implies, the ratio that in that first part of the Mishnah, min echad v'tam choy echad, that you're talking about again, eating a half a zayis of one min, and then another half a zayis of that same min, and it's prepared in the same manner. So the Gemara says, min echad v'tam choy echad tzrich l'meimar. Does that even need to be said? It's obvious that we're going to be mitzdarif the two half a zaysim, and say that the person is chayiv. So Amar Rav Huna, so Rav Huna says, Hachamay askinon kegon shehaisa lo yediyah bein tayim. The case is, the only way to understand this as some kind of chiddush is that there was a yediyah, there was some kind of knowledge between the two isurim. For Rabbi Gamliel, he damer ein yediyah lachatzi shir. And then the Mishnah will follow the opinion of Rabbi Gamliel, who holds there's no yediyah for chatzi shir. Rashi here explains, shehaisa lo yediyah bein shnei chatzoi shir. He had a yediyah between eating the two chatzoi shir. Ve'itzrach lashmin until it's tarfu. And the chiddush of the Mishnah is that they combine. Because I might have thought, since let's say you would have done a full shear, so you'd have to bring two karbanos, so to here maybe they shouldn't combine. So the Mishnah is teaching us that when you had shiur and shleimim, the yediyah is considered a yediyah l'chalek, and you bring two sets of karbanos like it's two averis. Aval yediyah is chatzi shir lav yediyah, but yediyah of a chatzi shir is not called a yediyah because there's no isser. And it's Rabbi Gamliel, damar l'karbon beper karbon ein yediyah l'chatzi shir. This is the opinion of Rabbi Gamliel that there's no yediyah for chatzi shir. Gemara now continues at the two dots. Itmar, it was learned. Achal shnei zeisei chaylev behelam echad. Let's say somebody ate two kazeisim of chaylev and it was in one helam, in one mistake. V'nodelo al harishon v'chazer v'nodelo al hasheni. He finds out about the first kazayis, and then he later subsequently finds out about the second kazayis. The Gemara is going to have a discussion exactly what happened in between. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chayiv Shtayim, Reish Lakish Amar Eino Chayiv Elachas. Rabbi Yochanan says the person is chayiv to bring two karbonos, and Reish Lakish says he's only chayiv to bring one carbon. And the Gemara continues. We're going to see Rashi because we did seem to have this exact machlokas between Abaye and Rava earlier, so we're going to see why this is different. But just to continue the Gemara then says Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chayiv Al Chataso V'Hevi. Rabbi Yochanan says Chayiv, he learns it out from the pasuk of Al Chataso V'Hevi. We'll see Rashi on that as well. Reish Lakish Amar Pater Mechataso V'Nislach Lo. Reish Lakish says Pater, he learns it out from the pasuk of Mechataso V'Nislach Lo. Rashi will explain all of this. Rashi here explains V'Chazer V'Nodelo. Then he finds out about the eating of the second kazayis. L'kamen boile yikodem shifresh carbon al yediyah rishona. The Gemara is going to ask later on, when did he find out about the second kazayis? Was it before he separated a carbon on the first yediyah? Because every yediyah is mechalkos lechatos, and the idea would be that the yediyah is mechalik. Even though he didn't have a yediyah between the two averis, between the two eatings, he had after he ate both kazaysim, he had a yediyah on the first and then a yediyah on the second, and still there's a possibility that it's mechalik according to Rabbi Yochanan Chayiv Shtayim. Or maybe what happened was he only found out about the second achila after he made a hafresh of a carbon on the first achila, because our hafresh is mechalik. According to that, Rabbi Yochanan is saying you're chayiv too because the hafresh of a carbon is mechalik. So it's a question, when Rabbi Yochanan says you're chayiv two karbonis, was it the idea that's mechalik or the hafresha? Now, the problem is that Abaye and Rava said before, if he has a yediyah and then he eats, it seems clear that Abaye and Rava held that yediyah is not mechalik, you're only chayiv one, it's considered one helam. If you ate and then you ate another kazayis, it's considered helam echad. So Rashi explains how is Rabbi Yochanan here arguing with Abaye and Rava. So Isvir lu plugs with Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish bekodim hafrasha. Now, if Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish are arguing before hafrasha, inu damer Reish Lakish, then they definitely hold like Reish Lakish. Abaye and Rava hold your chayiv one because it's considered helam echad. Inami, the other possibility is maybe the machlokas Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is only after you separate a carbon. V'inu damer kodem hafrasha, and they were talking about before hafrasha. No da al hasheni, that you find out about the second one. V'divrei hakol en chaluk and lachatos. So it could be everybody agrees before hafrasha with Abaye and Rava that it's considered helam echad, and the whole issue over here is after hafrasha. Or it could be they hold like Reish Lakish if the issue over here is going to be before the hafrasha. And now in terms of the psukim, al chataso v'hevi, so according to Rabbi Yochanan, the pasuk says al chataso v'hevi karbano siras izim t'mima nekeva al chataso asher chata mashma al kol chatas v'chatas yavi. The mashmos of the pasuk is each chatas, each sin gets its own carbon. On the other hand, Rish Lakish says, "Afil lo hevi ela al mixas chataso, mei chataso." If he brings just on part of his sin, v'nislach lo akulo, he's going to have forgiveness on all of it. So that's the machlokas al chataso v'hevi, or do you learn out from mei chataso v'nislach lo? So now the Gemara asks, what does each one do with the other person's pasuk? What about the pasuk of achataso? Hahula achar kapara. That's referring to after kapara, meaning the person already had a kapara. Then he's going to have to bring another carbon on the second sin. What about according to Rabbi Yochanan? Doesn't it say mechataso that there are situations where you can just bring one carbon? Why do you need two carbonas? No, that pasuk is talking kagon sha'achal kazayis umechza. Let's say it's a slightly different case. The guy ate 1.5 kazayis, v'nodalo al kazayis, and then he found out about 1 kazayis of the 1.5. Then he ate another half a zayis when he still didn't find out about the half of the 1.5. So in that particular case, maybe you put the half and the half together and you just chayiv a carbon on that second kazayis as well. Kamash Malon comes to teach us, no, Rashi explains, Kamash Malon, that it comes to teach us, Kevan Dahai Chatzi Zayis, if Zayis Kamashayich Basri Di Kamaisa, since this half of Zayis is together with the first Kazayis, the 1.5, it's all together, Vahavikilu Nodala Akol. So therefore, the idea on the first zayis includes the half a zayis that's with it, the 1.5. Because if you would if you would have already brought a carbon on this 1.5, the half would have been part of the kapara. Because the less than the shear is in chashav anyway. So if he would have, let's say, brought a carbon on the 1.5, but he didn't know that it was 1.5, he thought it was 1, it would have included the half also. So therefore, that half doesn't combine with the other half at the end. But on the other hand, let's say a person he ate 2 kazaysim, and he brings a carbon on the first kazayis, but he doesn't know yet about the second kazayis, so the second kazayis doesn't get dragged along without a yediyah. Therefore, if the yediyahs were separated, have yediyahs mechalkas. Again, according to Rabbi Yochanan, the yediyah would be mechalik. So in a situation specifically of 1.5 and then a half, that's when we say that it actually you can just bring 1 carbon and that's enough. That's what Rabbi Yochanan does with that pasuk of mechataso v'nislach lo. So the Gemara now continues. Amar le Ravina le Ravashi. So Ravina said to Ravashi, "Di yasiyad le kodem hafrasha pligi." Is the situation, the machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, where he found out about his Aveira before he separated Karbanos? In other words, he had a Kazayas, ate another Kazayas, had a Yediyah on the first Kazayas, and then had a Yediyah on the second Kazayas, but there was no separation of a carbon, and therefore we're really saying the Yediyah itself is Mechalik. Uvaha Pligi de Marsavar Yediyah is Mechalkos, and Marsavar Hafrash is Mechalkos. And the machlokas is that Rabbi Yochanan holds Yediyah is Mechalik, and Reish Lakish says, no, you have to actually do a Hafrasha. Aval Achar Hafrasha Modi Le Reish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan to Chayiv Shtayim. But certainly, if you would do a hafrasha, everyone would agree. Reish Lakish would agree with Rabbi Yochanan that you're chayiv to bring 2 karbanos. Or perhaps the situation over here is where he did a hafrasha of a carbon, and that's the machlokas. One of them says hafrasha is enough to be mechalik. The other one says no. You need to actually bring a carbon on the first kazayas. Then, after that you have a yediyah on the second one, then you'll need to bring a second carbon. But hafrasha is not enough. Aval kodem hafrasha modi le Rabbi Yochanan le Reish Lakish. But let's say before Hafrasha, then everyone would agree, even Rabbi Yochanan would agree, that you're certainly only chayiv 1. Or perhaps the last possibility is maybe they're arguing in all situations. Rabbi Yochanan says Yediyah is mechalik and Hafrasha of course is mechalik, and Reish Lakish says not only is Yediyah not mechalik, even Hafrasha is not mechalik. The machlokas is in all situations. So Amar Lei, so he said back to him, Mistabra bein bazu machlokas. It makes sense to say that the machlokas is across the board. The machlokas between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan is whether Yediyah is mechalik and whether Hafrasha is mechalik. Why? Hafrasha pligi. Avalachar Hafrasha modele Reish Lakish le Rabbi Yochanan to Chayiv Shtayim. If, for example, everyone agrees after Hafrasha, so Adamukim le Krala Achar Kapara, so why does Reish Lakish have to say that the pasuk which Rabbi Yochanan used talking after kapara, that kapara is machalik, look melachar hafrasha. He should say no, hafrasha. Why did he need to say earlier that it's after kapara that pasuk is talking about? V'achar hafrasha pligi, and the other way also. Let's say we're talking about after hafrasha. That's where the issue is. Aval kodem hafrasha modeli Rabbi Yochanan l'Reish Lakish deino chayv l'achas, but before hafrasha, when it's just the idea, everyone agrees you're chayv one. So Adamuki lekra bekazayis umechza. So why does Rabbi Yochanan have to come up with a whole complicated case by the pasuk of mechataso to say it's talking about a 1.5 kazayis? Look, make kodem hafrasha. Just say simply it's before hafrasha because everybody agrees in that situation. So the Gemara says that's no proof. No, maybe there was really a doubt over here. V'im tim salomar kamar. What was going on over here was really, it was an im tim salomar. Im tim salomar kodem hafrasha pligi bar Rabbi Yochanan hechi muki leilakra because I sumech. Means if you're gonna suppose they didn't know, if they're arguing before hafrasha, so then what does Rabbi Yochanan do with the pasuk? He'll have to say it's talking about by kazayis umechza because that's his only resort. And if the machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is after hafrasha, so then Reish Lakish hechi muki leilakra b'achar kapara. Then Reish Lakish is the only choice. The only time Reish Lakish could say you bring 2 karbanos is after karbanos. They didn't know exactly what was going on. Rashi here explains. Perhaps the people learning this up also didn't know what the machlokas was between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. What was it talking about? Just like I have a doubt about it. We don't know. So therefore, because when the Gemara goes back and forth, what does he do with the pasuk? It's just all in a language of imtim salomar. The Gemara itself is not sure, and that's why they say, if the machlok is in the most extreme situation, here's what he does in that pasuk. The Gemara continues at the 2 dots. Amar Ula says, Laman do Amar Asham Vaday lo ba yedi b'tchila. According to the one who holds that a carbon asham does not need yediyah in the beginning, Rashi here explains. Laman do Amar Asham Vaday lo ba yediyah. Pluxed Rabbi Tarfon Rabbi Akiva he bekrisus b'ferek dam shchita. Rabbi Akiva mechayev al safek me'ilas asham toloi. Rabbi Akiva says that if a person has a suffix me'ilah, he has to bring an asham toloi, and Rashi continues to explain. Perish, the explanation is, let's say a person has in front of him 2 pieces of meat, one is hektish and one is chulin, so there's a possibility of me'ilah. He eats one of the pieces, he doesn't know what he ate, so he basically does not know if he committed me'ilah. That's the situation here, suffix me'ilas. So in such a situation, maybe asham toloi. He's got to bring what's called an asham toloi, essentially a carbon asham where you're not sure if you committed the sin. Rabbi Akiva says in such a situation he doesn't bring his me'ilah, meaning he doesn't pay back the principal and an extra fifth, which is the normal punishment for me'ilah. He's got to know for sure that he did the sin, and then when he's going to bring the carbon asham me'ilos, which is what we're calling an asham vadai, just basically a regular carbon asham, so then he doesn't, only at that point when he brings the real carbon asham, when he is certain that he did the aveira, then he actually pays the karen v'chomesh, etc. What does it mean? Because this is the same rule as all other asham talis. Now, in general, an asham tali is brought anytime you're not sure if you have to bring a chatas. That's what an asham tali is. Let's say I wasn't sure if I ate chaylev or not, so I bring an asham tali. If I find out later that I ate chaylev, then I bring a carbon chatas. So it says. So basically, Rabbi Akiva says it works the same way by an asham milos. It's the same thing. Just like by a regular carbon chatas, you'll bring a chatas later when you find out. So the same thing is true by an asham. In other words, what's the point of Rabbi Akiva's point? Rabbi Akiva's point is, by a carbon chatas, if you're not sure if you're chayav a carbon chatas, what do? You bring an asham talui, and then when you find out, you bring a carbon chatas. Rabbi Akiva says the same thing is true by an asham, by a regular carbon asham. Let's say you do one of the 3 averas, which is chayav a carbon asham, but you don't know if you did that avera, so it's the exact same process. You bring an asham talui, and then if you find out you did it, then you'll bring your carbon asham, and you'll pay your karen v'chomesh, let's say in the case of me'ilah. Rabbi Tarfon Omer, but Rabbi Tarfon says no. Ma'alazeh maybe shtei hashamas. when it comes to a korban asham, why should the guy bring 2 korban ashams? I understand by a chatos that he brings first an asham taloi, and then if he finds out later he did the aver, he brings a chatos. That makes sense. Those are two different karbanos. But asham, it's the same korban. It's an asham. Why bring 2 of them? Velo dami lo asham taloi de safek chatos. Don't compare an asham taloi of a chatos to an asham taloi of an asham. The asham sveiko ayil vade nekeva, because by chatos the asham is an ayil, and then the chatos is in a keva. It's a female. Hilkach ki misyadele boile su in the keva. So when you find out later, you're going to need to bring a korban to keva. Avol zeh sheshneim min echad kedamar hasam shemimin shemevi al hoda mevi al hoda. We say over there that's the same korban, the same type of animal you bring for an asham that's an asham taloi for a suffix. You bring for a hoda. You bring for an asham vade that you know about. Shezeh ayil v'zeh ayil. It's both a korban. It's both an ayil. So yavi karen v'chomesh v'yavi ayil. So what the guy should do according to Tarfon is bring your karen v'chomesh, bring 1 ayil. V'yomer, he should say in vadai me'alti zumi losi v'zu hashami. If I did the aveira, then this is a regular korban asham. V'im safek shelo asid tzveki lahodali. But if it's something I'm never going to find out, let's say I'll never know whether I did the aveira, so then asham zeh yeah asham talui. Then this asham will be an asham talui. V'hekdesh zel in a dove, and whatever I'm giving over here, this karen v'chomesh, will just be a donation. Let's say he finds out later, he doesn't need to bring another korban asham because he said he made it tonight that this could be a korban asham. So what's the point? The point is that according to Rabbi Tarfon, alma lo ba yediyah betchila b'asham vade. You see, according to Rabbi Tarfon, that when you bring an asham vade, you don't need yediyah for it to be called an asham vade. You can make it tonight, even though I don't know right now I did an aveira, this is an asham vade, should it be that I did the aveira. Kodem havas kaparaso. Before you ever bring the kapar, the lowest yadalek he asi mechaparala. Apparently, the kapara works even though he didn't know at the time that he was bringing it. Rashi explains, Asham Vade, Kol Hashamas Kruyim Asham Vade. All korban ashams are called Asham Vade, Chutz Mi Asham Tolei, unless it's an Asham Tolei, Shubah Lohoda, which is a situation where you don't know if you did the Avera. Vein Shlosha, there are only 3 situations of Asham Vade. Haboyin al chet asham meilas, asham gezelas, asham shivcha charufa. They're brought for meila, they're brought for gezela, and they're brought for shivcha charufa. So the point in any case is that the next Gemara is going to deal with the situation according to Rabbi Tarfon, meaning according to Rabbi Tarfon, who says the yediyah is not important to bring a korban asham, and of course it's going to be a question related to whether the yediyah is mechalik or not, and we'll see that entire discussion on Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph in the next video.